Okay, I hope everyone is enjoying their food and their conversation. That's the whole point of the dig is, the messiness of humanity. We've been missing it for quite some time. But before we introduce our stellar keynote speaker this evening, I want to just show you a few things. First off, tonight we're going to be giving away this book. Victoria Miller, who is the current curator at the Steelworks Center in the West, she's been working her butt off, and she'll tell you frankly that to work with Arcadia, the publishing company, it's a real hard job. But she did this, she signed it. So we're going to be giving this away as a gift tonight. And the way that we're going to do it is, we're going to do the birth date digit game. So it'll be a month, date format. So we're going to do month, date. Later I will draw the number, and then we'll see who gets that number or closest to it. And they're going to win that book. The other thing I wanted to mention is, if you haven't picked it up yet, the latest issue of the Pueblo Star Journal, the reason why this is important is this format, the dig. We're now in our second season. This is going to be gifted to the Pueblo Star Journal. So beginning next year, this will be one of the community outreach platforms for the Pueblo Star Journal. And I'm pleased to say that the current issue, we're up to 40 pages, some amazing articles. Rachel Kutzka, who's in the back, she does our Thrive column monthly, and without individuals like Rachel and others, there's so many in here. And those of you that are in photography, I've already talked to a few of you, we're always in need of photographers. We have about 11 now, but we're going to be doing some really fun things this summertime, where we're going to be assigning photographers with each one of the writers. And we're going to be doing some great stuff with photography. But anyways, next month we'll be launching obituaries, legal notices, and classifieds. And the classifieds are really cool because it's going to be wedding announcements, birth announcements. It's going to be people who get job promotions, all of that good stuff. We're missing that right now. So that's going to be a big deal. We've been working on it for a year, and it's an amazing platform. It'll be available both digital and also in print format. I talked to people who still get the Chieftain, and those that are in their, if they're 60 to 90, the only reason they get the Chieftain is for the obituaries and the coupon. So we're going to be offering those, but sadly we lost the Thrifty Nickel. The Thrifty Nickel stopped on March 6th, and we were trying to work with them, but they were just tired. And I'll be honest with you, this is the hardest thing to do, to produce this monthly. Rachel can vouch for it, but you know what? It's too important not to do it right now. So on that note, the other thing that we're doing is on April 19th, we're going to be hosting a special screening of the documentary Join or Die, which is on Netflix now. And we're working with the filmmakers. We'll be the very first to do this in Colorado, one of the first in the country. But it's based on this book called Bowling Alone. It's an amazing book. It was written about 25 years ago. This is the updated edition. We're going to be giving these out at the event. But on April 19th, after we show the documentary, we're going to have a talk back with the filmmakers themselves. But we started clubcon.org. And what we're doing is we're inviting any club, any organization, any group, it could be an individual that has a special interest, to set up a free table so that after the screening, we're going to encourage everyone to join one club. Because Bob Putnam, good old Bob, who wrote Bowling Alone, has proven that if you join one club today, you've already increased your life expectancy by 50%. I mean, our democracy was based on the fact that we all were members of clubs, organizations. We don't go to church like we used to. We don't have dinner parties like we used to. It's a time for us, like we're doing here, just to get together in the same room. Whether you like people or not, that's not the point. The point is just to get in the same room and have some healthy conversation. So, yes. Oh, it's at the Art Center. We're taking over the entire Jackson Conference Center, the upper level. So we're going to have the screening in that room, and then we just had, they're beautiful, I don't have them with me, but they're these custom reusable shopping bags. And they have a pouch sewn inside the seam so you can fold the whole thing into this tiny little pouch. But when you go shopping, it says clubcon.org, and it's all about our people, our passions. So it's about community. At the end of the day, that's what it's all about. So we're excited about that. So those are the main things that I want to talk about. I'm so excited for Tyler, who's our keynote speaker today. And for those of you that attended the first edition of the Dig, it was 15 consecutive Wednesdays. We broadcast live. Justin was there every Wednesday. It was a feast, but it was a lot of fun. And we had storytellers from every generation tell all of these great stories about Pueblo. But I felt this time what we really needed to do is, I'm not too happy with leadership, shall we say, in state level, federal level, and at the local level. There's just so many great young people who have just incredible leadership skills. So when you look at all of the people we have in the lineup, in fact, we have a few people here. Last month was Megan Moore, who leads the Pueblo Food Project. She gave an amazing presentation. That's is this week. And then Shannon is one of our speakers in the lineup. Rachel is going to be one of the speakers in our lineup. And I think that's who's here tonight. But every month we're doing this, right here in the back room at the Senate Bar. They're all going to be recorded. But I got to see Tyler's new documentary on the Aspen Music Festival and School. And it was just amazing. And I'm not going to say anything about it because I think you're probably going to want to say some things that I want to say. But it's extraordinary. So if you haven't seen it, I think we're going to maybe see a little bit in your presentation, a little snippet of it. But in any case, I'm going to pass the mic over to Tyler. I'm going to let him run with it, and we're going to go from there. So remember your month, date. Later on, we'll give away the book.
All right. Hey, everybody. That is what we call a tight 3 minutes. Thank you for that, Gregory. And you never walked in front of the trash can, right, Justin? Yeah, he did. Well, I'm going to make sure that we are an active audience first. I always like to start that way. So when I say hip, you say hop. Sound good? Hip, hip, and you don't stop the boogie. Okay, yeah, we won't go that far. Yes, I'm Tyler Shown. Not so brown, the clown, turn that frown upside down is what I would say back on Rev 89 at CSU Pueblo, which is where I really started listening to music. Was I listening to Rev's music? Not so much. Top 40, not my jam. Very catchy. You find yourself singing it here and there. But what was I going to do after college? And that's what this speech is going to be all about, is my journey, so to say. This is a storyteller's format, right? So this is going to be my journey in the music industry. We're going to start with how I started here in Pueblo, grassroots very much, and to how I moved my way up in the music industry, grand stages. This speech is called Grassroots to Grand Stages, making music more than gigs, which a lot of people in my industry, it's all about gigs, finding work. I'm a freelancer, freelance videographer for none of you that have met me. So we're going to go through that a little bit. So for now, we're going to get started. I'm going to have a few quotes here on the board behind me. As you can see, this first one, you might recognize some of these Pueblo musicians. Maybe you don't. I think music in itself is healing. It's an explosive expression of humanity. It's something we're all touched by. No matter what culture we're from, everyone loves music. I see music as a bridge, and what I think we need more of in Pueblo is bridges, to bridge communities, bridge silos of independent entrepreneurs that are trying to make things happen, but collaboration over competition. So we're going to dive into that a little bit later. So let's go ahead and move on here. And we're back. Before I let that ride too much, the first band I ever shot for was called Beyond Bridges. For people that don't know who that band is, the lead guitarist is Tony Garcia, who is the founder of Brews Ale House. At the time, I was in college when Brews first opened. I couldn't be more excited to see a huge concert venue open in Pueblo that was serving craft beers that no one was going to because they didn't want to pay $5 for a beer. Me, on the other hand, my best friend Ado was the lead singer, knew Tony, knew the group, and before I know it, I'm shooting 4 or 5 shows a week because I finished school with a mass comm degree, had gone into electronic media, integrated media, moved to Yosemite, lived in a yurt for a while, did a little hippie living, type of stuff, came back, saw my friend's band is now playing at a new concert venue, and said, wow, you guys are pretty talented. Who knew, right? So I bought a camera to start filming that band, help them promote their shows, try to get their name out there. Now, because Tony was the founder of Brews, he was able to basically book their own band to open for the best acts that were coming to Brews at the time. So before I know it, I'm shooting 4 or 5 shows a week, and who's that for? Oh, they're opening for the Expendables, they're opening for Ballyhoo, they're opening for all these big reggae rock bands. So I start getting my practice by shooting these bands at Brews Ale House in Springs in Denver. Here's a little clip of what I was doing in the beginning. Don't judge it too hard. It's going to get better as the presentation goes along. Kayla, I see you texting over there. Get off the phone. All right. So I had bought a $300 camera. I can do slow motion. I can put it in black and white. Ooh, look at me, you know, I'm building up a repertoire. But the reality is, before I know it, I'm probably shooting every band from Pueblo around my age that I can at the time. So I'm shooting 4 or 5 shows a week while I'm cooking at Angelo's as a side gig, right? I'm making my money by cooking at Angelo's, getting paid no money to film music here in town. But I'm filming for all these bands. I finally built up a portfolio. So our next quote here is, my music had roots, which I dug up from my own childhood. Musical roots buried in the darkest soil. My roots in music were being grown in Pueblo as I was filming, in maybe like that 2-year span, just following my best friend's band along. Now, as I'm starting to build my portfolio, I'm like, hey, I want to start shooting for bigger bands. I want to seek out bands that I want to see, that I want to play for. So I reached out to a specific band, California Honey Drops. So when I was living my hippie life in a yurt in Yosemite, there was a couple bands that kind of came across my pathway that I started listening to. California Honey Drops is one of them. 8-piece orchestra-style band. They're barefoot every show. They have no set list. It's improv every show. They play whatever the audience wants to hear. Non-stop dancing, my style of music, you know? So for the next 3 years or so, I reached out to them originally. They were playing in Denver at Cervantes. I said, I would love to shoot the show. Here's my portfolio. Yeah, Tyler, take a media pass. You know, let's go check this out, see what you can do. I take pictures of that show. Next thing I know, they say, hey, why don't you come to our next show? Come to Buena Vista. You know, so I shoot them in Buena Vista. Well, why don't you come to Crested Butte? I'll come to Crested Butte. Well, Tyler, you're in a van. You want to come to some festivals. How about Santa Barbara? How about we fly you out to New Orleans to do a recording studio? We're going to do some songs. Next thing I know, I'm traveling around the nation, following this band that I love, but they're finally starting to pay me a little bit of money. You know, I'm like, okay, cool. I'm not working for free anymore. So this eventually leads, you'll see in this video, I got to shoot for the first time at Red Rocks Amphitheater, which is a whole crazy story behind how I got that. Some of you know how I made it to that show. But felt very honored to finally be legitimized in saying, hey, come film at Red Rocks. So you're going to see a little clip of capturing this band at Red Rocks, my favorite band, who I've now been working 2 or 3 years for, trying to build this portfolio to legitimize myself in the industry. So we finally get to Red Rocks. right, we're starting to get somewhere. We're dancing a little bit, right? We got a little shakiness in the footage still, but we're improving. We're getting better. Legitimate bands are starting to recognize that I can do good work. I can be an asset in the industry. So where do we go from there? Now, my favorite part of that Red Rock show is, in fact, that I got to employ two of my friends to come along with me to shoot that show, which were two Pueblo videographers that I've been working with for years. Soon as I got the call from the band, I said, hey, can I bring two more people? Like, you want two more cameras, right? So I come back to Pueblo, say, hey, guys, I can employ you to come work at Red Rocks. I can employ you to work for a big-time band, give you a chance to shoot a show like that. So I bring Jared Young, Armando Chavez, you might know these guys in town, filmed a lot of different things, photographed a lot of different things, got to bring them to that show. Then I'm like, okay, well, this is not just for me. Maybe I can employ other people in the industry to be able to do this type of stuff and bring them along. So we move along in our career here. Of course, this is me at Red Rocks. Awesome, couple shots at Red Rocks. But my 3 years of shooting that band kind of came to an end. They went under new management, you know, and basically management came to me and said, hey, we have our own in-house photographer. We have an in-house videographer. And I said, well, what does that mean? Like, I'm not going to be around anymore? And the lead singer says, well, I guess we'll see. I've never shot a show for them since, because I had a better relationship with the management team than I did with the band. But I wasn't upset about that, because relationships are how you make it in the business, to be honest. And I would rather be employed by the people that are promoting the shows, booking the shows, than the people that sell the tickets, I guess you could say. So now I know I can work for bands like this. So then a pandemic hits. I don't know if you guys remember. Anybody remember? Hands. Yep, so a pandemic hits. Well, what happens to live music? Live music shuts down, right? You would think that I was no longer working. However, all of work went online. So I was busier than ever. Everyone was trying to adjust to this technological curve that just happened. How do we adjust to social media? What do? We have to make videos. We have to make photos. So I'm the first one out there in a mask with a camera, 10 feet distance, filming people every day, promoting businesses, trying to get restaurants going. I joined a startup company called Wake Up Pueblo. Some of you may be familiar with that company. It started from a Discovery Channel TV show, essentially, called Undercover Billionaire. A guy was dropped off. They started a marketing company. Owner comes to me and says, we want to start something to bring all of the creatives in town together. We want to employ all of the photographers, all the videographers, all the graphic designers. You've been working in the industry, Tyler, we need you. So what do? Outside of filming on my own, editing in my room alone, what a perfect opportunity for me to employ friends, build something, a creative mountain endeavor, and try to make the creative community a real profession in Pueblo. So for those of you that have not been in the Wake Up Pueblo building, there's in fact a 150-year-old theater upstairs, 150 seats. It used to be Steel City Players theater themselves. That's where they used to operate out of, put on plays in the theater all the time. Had no idea it existed before. Then go in there and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a theater up here. I'm a music guy. I can't wait to put shows on in here. So what do is I bring in new sound, new lighting, new rigs to be able to put on shows in this theater. We did put on a couple shows. Of course, this is during COVID time, so we could put maybe 30, 40 people into a show, but who do I book to play the show? Beyond Bridges, my original band. Bring them in to play a show. We sell out the night. Harsh reality is that, yeah, we put on a couple shows in that theater. I was the main driver for that to happen. Stepped away from the company. Also with the theater itself, there's a realization that there's so much money that has to be poured into making something ADA compliant, fire compliant, and it's kind of a losing battle when you have a historic building in town that just won't easily be made that done. There's a few people in here that have restored old buildings in town, know how much it costs, right? So I stepped away from Wake Up. But again, trying to employ musicians, employ creatives, push that community forward in town. So I said, hey, well, my motto, which is tattooed on my arm here, is smiles go miles. It's all about positivity. Optimism can take you places you never thought you could be before. So I want to keep putting on shows. I want to keep employing my friends, musicians, A couple of you were photographed in here. Yeah, I think you'll like that. So I said, what the heck? I want to throw a show at a new venue in town, which is called Fuel and Iron. Nathan here is the founder of that, and I wanted to support their new business. So what do? I want to throw a concert, you know. And what's the point of that concert? Well, it's a Smiles Go Miles concert. So I want to personally choose a positive thing to support and be able to give the money, the profits from that show to that cause, you know. And I don't want anybody else to tell me what that cause is. So I picked a couple friends who are nurses, who've been going through a rough time, and basically this chose that I wanted to send them to Hawaii. It was always on their bucket list, and I wanted to raise money to do that. So all of the proceeds from this show, minus the people that we employed, of course, the musicians, the photographers, things like that, all the proceeds went to this family to send them Hawaii. Ironically, they never accepted the money, unfortunately, but I pushed that into the next Smiles Go Miles project, which I'll talk about here in a little bit. But yes, we successfully threw a concert at Fuel and Iron. We had, I think, 300 to 400 people at this concert, which was amazing. We sold Jolly Mules, which is my company. Moscow Mule is like my favorite drink. Just throwing that in there. But through the successful concert, again, you can see the people employed in this. Lead singer on the right, Ado, Beyond Bridges, Christian Hawkes, who plays here all the time. If you've ever been here on a Friday night, he's always playing at the Senate. And yeah, we had a lot of good people. Half you here probably were at that show. Little clip from the show. So the goal has always been, not only are we trying to put on good shows, but we want to record those shows. One criticism I always had at Brews is they never asked me to give them video of any of these amazing bands that I was filming. And I said, you're bringing in the best bands in town. Like, how are you not putting out a YouTube video, not putting out Instagram videos, Facebook videos to help promote your shows, promote this amazing venue that we have in town? And the reality is they just never asked me, never even thought about me, it kind of felt like, in many ways. So I was just kind of doing it on my own, steering that path. But kind of something I wanted represented in our Smiles Go Miles show is that we're going to record these musicians, we're going to put them out there because we're proud of where we come from. We're proud of the talent that we have in Pueblo. And heck, I love recording my life, to be honest with you. I love recording the moments. That's what like videography is all about, is pictures capture a moment and videos capture life, you know? So I love reliving these moments. I want to relive these moments. So we recorded all these musicians throughout the night, putting out their songs, trying to promote them, and build for more shows to get more people to come, bigger venues in the future, type of stuff. And he sounds pretty good, doesn't he? He's not bad. So, our next quote from Mary Berry, the popular host of British Bake Off, or British Baking Show. Huge fan. I don't know about any of you. But life is all about sharing. If we're good at something, pass it on. This is the pleasure I get from teaching. Whether it's television or books, we all should share. So how do I share this newfound experience, these new avenues that I found for work, for employing people, for seeing my friends very often? I need to teach. I need to teach people how to do these things. I hope my next slide is going to be this, but I was asked to teach an Upward Bound course at PCC. We want to take a group of kids who have signed up for the summer, and we want you to show them what you do, essentially, over weeks. I think it was a 6-week course. So what do I believe is the best way to teach them how to do what I do? Well, it takes a team. It takes a village to do what I do, honestly. So I wanted to bring in graphic designers. I wanted to bring in photographers. I want to bring in musicians to see these kids, that it takes a whole community to create this avenue. So you're going to see a little video of what that 6-week course was like and the different people I brought in to try to show these kids what they could live, what careers they could potentially have, which maybe they never even considered before. So that's what's up here next.
out now that you miss me. What to say? Any day.
All right, my kids know me as Mr. T, don't pity the fool. But in that 6-week course, not only did they they had to make music videos for local musicians who I brought in to be a part of that. You know, we took them to a lighting workshop, taking them to David Tookett's studio to be able to show them what like proper lighting can look like. We brought in proper musicians so they could actually have a subject to shoot. And also at the end of the course, they all had to make short films. How do we make those short films? We started with like, write a story. We're going to teach you how to write a story. Okay, now we're going to record that as a podcast. Here's what it sounds like as a podcast. You cut it down to make it a little more interesting. Now we need to visualize that. We need to make that into an actual short film. We're going to be using cameras. We're going to be using microphones. You're going to be the actors because as my Film Fest peeps know, you play a lot of roles when you're playing the film industry. You're going to be an actor. You're going to be a filmmaker. You're going to be an audio guy. You're going to do all of those things. It's good to be well-rounded as possible when you're trying to be creative. You know, it's great to have your specific niches, but to be well-rounded and know all the niches is a good way to get into the industry and to become an actual employable creative. So we have these kids. I'm like, okay, well, I think I can maybe teach. They didn't hate it. They liked it, I think. You know, they had a good time. Yeah, there was only like 7 kids, but okay, I'm setting something up here. I'm like starting to get a snowball rolling. How do we start pushing this down a hill? Our next quote here. If a man does not keep pace with his companions, perhaps it is because he hears a different drummer. Let him step to the music which he hears, however measured or far away. So I kind of started to realize that maybe I was hitting a glass ceiling in Pueblo. There was only so far I could push my creative goals given the venues or the access or the funding that I had to do things in Pueblo. Well, how am I going to learn new things? How am I going to keep going? How am I going to keep push that ceiling higher? Well, maybe I need to leave. I need to find my own isolated goals that I can only pursue on my own. You know, I need to step away from Pueblo and try to learn, try to progress, try to be more ambitious, bring that back to people that have maybe never seen the things I'm trying to accomplish before. So I decided to start traveling more, you know, try to start seeking out more bands across the nation, across the world, more opportunities that were only made for me, unfortunately, but that I can bring that experience back in abundance to people, you know. So given my work with the Honey Drops, I started to have new access to managers, to curators, organizers of different music events. Well, one of those happened to be, his name is Matt Butler. He's a drummer, conductor, organizer of all different kinds of things. He calls me up and says, Tyler, you want to come to Portugal in a couple weeks? And I said, oh, yeah. 1, yes. 2, what is it? You know, what's going on? He was starting to organize 7-day sojourns. Temporary stay is what that means by definition, for private ticket goers. So he brings people to a city for 7 days. He employs about 30, 40 different world-class musicians, and they play 3 shows a day over 7 days at different venues throughout a town. So we were in Porto, Portugal. You'll see in this next coming video the type of venues that we're playing in, but 3 shows a day. He brought maybe 200 people to these shows who not only want to travel, but they want to see amazing music, musicians that they love. And I'm the first and only videographer hired to capture this whole thing. You know, it's like an idea that he has spurred, and I was recommended to him. I had never really talked to him before, to be honest. And he says, Tyler, like, come capture, you know, what's going on. So that's what this next video is going to be.
I would like to introduce Edwin Brock. We're going to play a couple numbers for you today, and we're going to celebrate being here, being alive, being now. We're going to pray for peace on earth, all right? Cranking up the joy, we're gonna bring it home to you. Thank you guys so much for sharing this.
Okay, we're getting somewhere. Tyler's abroad. He's working a little bit more here, right? Some of the people, places featured in that, the bands, I mean, I didn't know a single musician on the entire trip, but Green Sky Bluegrass, which is the biggest bluegrass band in the country, I realized after the fact I'd spent a whole week with them, and saying, what was your name again? Sorry, who was you? And some of the places you saw was, we did a sunset tour on a private cruise line that they played 4 hours of Grateful Dead music because it was just deadheads, honestly. It was just hippies wanting to get on the ocean and get drunk, basically. And then there was the Royal Palace in Porto there, which had never had a concert in it before. The room itself took 25 years to build. The palace took 150 years. We're having a private concert in there where Holly Bowling, another famous pianist, is playing a show for 40 people privately, and I'm just like, what is going on? This is cool. The reality of that work, though, was I was working 16-hour days probably. So I would wake up in the morning, 9 a.m., film a concert for 2 hours. I'd go back to my room, edit for 3 or 4 hours probably. Time for the next concert. Go to the concert, afternoon concert. Go back to my room, download the footage, upload photos, finish the edit. I was putting out daily reels, which they didn't even think about. The marketing team had never thought about daily reels. They'd never actually seen a videographer turn around day of videos before. And then I would go, sunset comes, okay, it's time for the night concert. Well, I shoot till 2 a.m. Okay, come back, finish those, save the footage, wake up 9 a.m. the next day, start editing again. What I realized during that trip was the photographer who was paid 5 times what I was paid, been working in the industry for 30 years, looked at my videos, and he's like, I have no idea what you're doing. I've never seen anybody do this. I've never seen people take video, turn it into an Instagram reel, put it out an hour later, and we've never, no one here knows what you're doing. Because the reality was, I'm working with people who've been in the industry for decades, but all in their 50s, 60s, have not grown up in the social media world the way I have. They've never been professionally employed to make Facebook videos before, and that's exactly what I do and exactly why I was trying to prove that I was an asset on this type of trip, was I can do the things that you guys have never thought of, you haven't been practicing. You're doing things that you've been doing for decades, and that's why I'm employed. But the reason I have a job is because I'm doing things no one's ever done before. So I'm trying to build that. Again, I'm building up this portfolio. I'm building up a reason people should hire people like me. And the reason you have to have stages, you have to have musicians, you have to have stage hands, you have to have stage managers, you have to have promoters, marketers. This festival itself, if you want to call it a festival, probably employed about 50 to 60 different people to make it happen. So I'm starting to see a little bit of scale of ambition. Okay, this is what it takes to put on bigger events. You have to have teams of people to make these things happen. people have to buy tickets to make these things happen. There has to be funding. There has to be organization. There has to be infrastructure. Infrastructure, a big part of that, which I'll talk about here coming up. Next opportunity, employed by the same person, Matt Butler. He is invited every single year to come on Jam Cruise, which is a week-long cruise. Usually starts in Miami, and then it goes, this one, for example, that you're going to see, goes through Jamaica, goes through the Cayman Islands, different things. But it's basically 7 days of music, 8 a.m. to 4 a.m. every single day, nonstop music on 6 different stages on a cruise ship. And there's maybe 3,000 or 4,000 people that come onto the cruise ship to see all these different shows. And they're employing now hundreds of people to make this happen. And again, Matt calls me and says, hey, I have the official nonprofit sponsor of the event. We're going to go into an orphanage in Jamaica and help them build their community, and we want somebody to capture that. You're the first person we think of is Tyler. Like, Tyler knows how to do this stuff, you know? So I get an invite to come on the cruise ship. Oh, cool. Yeah, can you be in Miami in a week? Hell yeah, I can be in Miami in a week, you know? Like, that's cool. So you're going to see maybe a few familiar faces in this, and I'll touch base on this a little bit, but this is my experience on Jam Cruise now, because I'm starting to become an international videographer. I'm working with bigger bands. I got the portfolio, so let's see what we can make happen. Oh, maybe there's not music. Imagine there's music here. I'm just going to talk during it. Okay. Yeah, sometimes there's edit mistakes, you know, this happens. Some of the people you're going to see on here are there's bands like Galactic, the Talking Heads. If any of you know the Talking Heads, I'm standing 5 feet from these people, like filming them. I said, oh my God, I've heard them play a song. They look old. You know, type of deal. I had a conversation with one of the DJs who was employed to be on the ship, and I'm telling him, I played soccer, you know, internationally. I've gone all across Europe, like trying to play soccer. That's also like one of my loves is playing as much as I can. And he says, oh, yeah, me too. And I said, oh my gosh, you played soccer? And he's like, no, I'm DJ Logic. I play music. And I was like, oh, sorry, I've never heard of you. I don't know, yeah. Oh, well, that was just some music. Okay, I'll let the video take it now. So yeah, you get the gist. You get it. You get what happened. Yeah, I ate a lot of buffet food. That's what happened for a week, you know. But again, I'm getting access to these amazing musicians. Okay, well, how do I make the most of this? Well, again, music is about relationships. It's about maintaining relationships, building relationships. I was a hustling videographer on that. I was roomed with a hustling musician who I'd met. He was also on the trip in Portugal. He was also invited to come on the ship, not booked to actually play any shows. But what is he doing for the week? He's trying to link up with musicians the whole time. He gets brought into a couple shows. I got full stage access. I'm trying to shoot as many of these big musicians as I can. But me and him are kind of just like, we're young, we're ambitious, let's keep this going, let's do our thing. We have to make our connections, we have to build, we have to learn how all of this happens. We got to keep this going, ride the momentum type of deal. So then our next quote here, legacy is not what I did for myself, it's what I'm doing for the next generation. So as I start to build my experience, my expectations of what I can do in the industry, well, let's think a little further ahead. It's not just about present, it's about in the future. Like, how do I create legacy? How do I create lasting impact, you know, for generations, not just for me. Like, I'm trend setting, I feel like, you know, in my community. I'm doing things not a lot of people have done. I'm blessed to do these things that not a lot of people have done. But how do I create a pathway for people like me, you know, maybe 10 years younger, that are going to be able to look up to me and say, oh, well, that guy did it. Maybe I can do it. I got to keep pushing this. You know? So then I was like, okay, Smiles Go Miles 2. We did one. Successful event at Fuel and Iron. You know, that was pretty good. Maybe we can do this again. Let's do this again. Let's pick another cause to support. You know, what can we do for Smiles Go Miles 2? Well, I know a guy who was roomed with me on a jam cruise ship. He's a pretty good musician. You know, maybe I'll employ him. I'll fly him out to come to Pueblo. I've been working with Pueblo musicians so much, but now I've been working with international musicians so much. How do I combine the two? How do I connect them? How do I build a bridge to create pathways for creative communities to come back to Pueblo? Like, I'm excited to build Pueblo's creative community through this access that I have now built in my own career. So I fly out Tuck Ryan from Philadelphia, who was my roommate on the cruise ship. I decide Renewed Wholesale. I threw a bunch of concerts there when I was younger, food trucks in the parking lot. My friends get to sit on couches. We get to listen to music. It's a good time. Some of you have been to those concerts as well. We got some people painting pictures at those. I fly Tuck out, and I was like, I want to support the musicians this time. You know, the musicians don't always get the love. Like, I can pay them sometimes, but how do I directly support them? Well, let's make vinyls. Let's record a live vinyl at the concert that night. So what did I do? I employed Q, who is in the room over here, to be my sound engineer. I said, I want to record a live album. You know, I have all these amazing musicians that I'm bringing on. I've sold tickets. The ticket profit is going to go directly to paying for the vinyls for these musicians. Not only are we going to record for them, we're going to pay for the vinyls to come out later on. So that's what we did. This audio that you're hearing is Tuck singing at the concert. Yeah, who did that? Who did that mix? Yeah. But a reality I had during this concert was people heard Tuck. They'd hear him hit a note, and they'd say, "Oh, whoa! Maybe I will pay to go see something like this. I will go see musicians. You know this guy? Oh yeah, I do know this guy. Sleeping at my mom's house, you know. She's always got a bed open for whoever needs it, you know, type of deal." I also got to bring my cousin, a 30-year musician, to come play saxophone. I got to employ a violinist. I got to employ a whole nother band, you know, all these different people. Okay, I'm bringing 3 bands on for shows, you know. We have we got a sponsor. Target sponsored the event. Well, we can get, sponsors want to support this? Oh, cool. Sponsors are good. We can get a little bit better. Tuck serenading behind me. This is nice. I kind of want to dance a little bit. Sorry, gonna skip him. Next quote. Music was my refuge. I could crawl into the space between the notes and curl my back to loneliness. Now, the reality, harsh reality, again, of my career, super isolated. I'm working by myself a lot of the time. Especially as a freelancer, I am a one-man show. I'm booking the gigs. I'm filming the gigs. I'm editing the gigs. I'm putting on the gigs. You know, I'm hiring people sometimes to be a part of those, but the reality is I'm doing most of the things myself. And very lonely, right? So I got to find avenues to, get out of that loneliness. Music is one of those avenues for me. Especially throwing events, throwing concerts. I can employ people. I can see people be happy. I can bring everybody into a room like we got right here and, bond over one specific thing. So we got to keep pushing that. Keep pushing it. What are we going to do next? Oh. Whoa. Okay, so I'm cruising on Indeed. I'm looking for positions where I can, work with teams. I can film more concerts. I can be involved. I can be an asset to a group. And what do I see pop up on Indeed but videographer wanted for the Aspen Music Festival School. Aspen Music Festival School, never heard of it. What is it? Turns out it's one of the biggest classical music schools in the world. No idea. They've been going on for 75 years. They put 300 concerts on in an 8-week span. Sorry, I'm distracted. I'll get back to it. So they put on 300 concerts in an 8-week span. And the school's basis is that kids have to apply to be a part of this summer program, essentially. So kids are paying $12,000, $13,000 to come for 8 weeks to play in huge symphonies, orchestras, to Aspen-specific audiences. The catch is, though, they're also employing world-class classical musicians to come be the leads of these orchestras, symphonies. So the kids are playing with world-class musicians, competing against each other to see who's the best pianist, who's the best violinist, who's the best piano player, you know, all these type of things, to be competition winners. In the classical music, everything is competition-based. It's all name-based. So you have to win competitions to get employed for concerts. A lot of these kids, sure, are coming from affluent families a lot of the time. Many are not as well. But also a reality that they have is, yes, they're competing against each other. Everything's super technical based. Any missed note is a huge deal to these kids, will be noticed all the time. But now they're employing Tyler Schown, awesome, for me. But also they've never had a videographer before in the history of the festival. No one's ever been there to capture people doing these things. And in comparison to what I was working before, which is a lot of jam bands, which is guys that have not shaved in 6 years, who have not showered, you know, this week, and I'm in their face, I'm on stage, I'm barefoot, dancing, you know, I'm there for the guitar solo. Classical music is not that way at all. I cannot be seen. I cannot move during music. And in classical music, movements are what is happening, not songs. So a movement can last 30 minutes. A song can last 3. But the reality is I have to pick my places at classical music festivals, not be seen, but I'm going to be there for the next 30 minutes. I have to capture the shot that we've talked about with my one boss beforehand. So you're going to see a little bit about, Gregory mentioned my documentary about the festival, which is basically an accumulation of my 8 weeks at the festival. I was filming 3 to 4 shows a day a lot of the time. Again, 300 concerts in an 8-week span. And they've never had a videographer. So it's basically like, Tyler, capture everything. Cool, yeah. You're going to be fine. You know, yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. So 100 hours of filming, 100 hours of editing. Most of that, again, me sitting at a desk in my room and then driving the car to the next concert. Back to the room, next concert. You get, yeah. I'm doing yoga in between, trying to not get bad posture a lot of the time. But I am going to, maybe some of you saw the trailer online. There's going to be a little portion. Alec, you going to the bathroom? You want me to wait? We can all sit and, yeah. If everyone could just take a moment, talk amongst themselves. Yeah, no, I'm going to play it. Yeah, so this is going to be a small portion of the actual film, which just won Best Documentary at CSU Fest last week, which is another local film festival. First place I was able to premiere it, which is very awesome. Again, this is kind of a baby of my work, but you're going to see how talented most of these people are between 18 and 28 years old, that are all competing, all playing shows for big audiences that are the biggest critics of people that they could play for in these classical music environments. So this is a little portion of that documentary.
As a little kid, I always walked by the music store and I saw this great instrument, a kind of monster. I had this passion to control it.
I always knew, ever since I was young, in middle school or high school, I knew that I wanted to come to Aspen.
I started to realize how deep and how beautiful music could be as I matured.
that's what we're doing at the end of the day. We're performing and sharing art with an audience, and that's really fun to do. Music is not supposed to be self-serving, it's supposed to be for others. And what keeps me going is knowing that I have an ability, a special ability, to touch people that would go to waste if I didn't.
Sitting with other people to play music together is the most beautiful thing ever in human history.
Nice, oh, nice. I was gonna say hold your applause, but why not? Why not? Why not come after it? Yeah, so amazing. 8 weeks of me spending time with all these amazingly talented musicians, but also how many people are employed by the festival to make this happen. So 500 musicians are brought in every year, but 350 people are employed to make the festival happen. So you got house managers, stage managers, artist liaisons, you got the operations team, you got the marketing team, you got all different types of, you got HR, which I've had experiences with, some of you that know that. All of those people make the festival happen. And it's like, okay, wow, I'm seeing an even bigger scale of what it takes to make music profitable and to employ people all across the industry. So now, how do I take that experience and apply it to something that means something to my community? And how can I not have to be, this might sound bad, but not have to be in my community every day, but I can have a staple event that I can come back for every single year, and to employ people that I want to employ, friends, that I want to employ, that all have their own skill sets, all have different aspects that they can offer to make something really cool happen. So how do we keep building? How do we keep building? So, this guy who I'd thrown a concert called Smiles Go Miles, at a food hall. Nathan Stern over here, founder of the food hall again, came to me. Please give it up for Nathan real quick. Yeah, so Nathan is originally from Denver, but he's probably one of the biggest Pueblo advocates I've met in a long time, to be honest. And he came to me after the success of Smiles Go Miles and says, I'm originally from Denver. We have something called the Underground Music Showcase. And for those of you that haven't been to the Underground Music Showcase in Denver, it's about 3-4 blocks that they shut down Denver of only music venues that are playing music all day for 3 days. It could be all types of music, multiple stages, but they're shutting down town to make it happen. He comes to me and he says, I want to do something like that in Pueblo. I want to have multiple stages where we employ dozens of musicians to play shows. I think it's going to be an awesome thing. I don't know anything about the music industry. Please help, Tyler. And I said, okay, yeah, no, I know sound people. I called Q. I said Steel City Studios. He's recorded artists that I have performed with. He's recorded at my shows before. I'm gonna bring in Q. Okay, we got sound engineers. I know tons of musicians. Let me send you a list of dozens of bands from Pueblo Springs that I've worked with that we can now employ to play the festival. Okay, now we got bands. Nathan happened to know a booker up in Denver who books for Red Rocks, for Mission Ballroom. UMS, yeah, he books for the festival that we're trying to emulate. His name is Kyle, and he said, oh God, we got Kyle on the team. He books all of our bands. He knows connections in Denver, he knows connections in Springs, convincing people to come down to Pueblo for a whole weekend rather than an afternoon. We got a 2-day festival. Okay, now we got bands coming down for the weekend. Oh, maybe we got people from Denver that like those bands that are coming down for the weekend. We got people from Springs that are coming down for the weekend. Oh, we booked some bands from New Mexico. Maybe some New Mexico people are going to come down for the weekend to Pueblo, of all places. You mean the place that has fast food restaurants off the highway? Is that what you're talking about, that place? Oh, the place that has high crime and the most bars per square mile in the country? No, that's not the place I'm talking about. I'm talking about the place that has ley lines sitting over it for creativity. We got ley lines in the globe, 3 or 4 across over Pueblo. This is a theory for the Puebloans. I know what I'm talking about. We got ley lines across southern Colorado for creativity. That's why we got so many artists in town. But I grew up in Pueblo, a very self-deprecating place, right? You always felt like you had to leave to accomplish things. You had to go to Fort Collins, you had to go to Boulder, you had to go to Denver to make things happen. People always complained. There's no nightlife. There's nothing going on. Well, my opinion, why don't you make a nightlife? Why don't you change things? Why don't you create events? Why don't you create stages for the musicians that you love so much, that you want to complain they don't have places to play? Beautiful artist community. Yes. How do we employ those people? Well, Nathan, great idea. Let's throw a festival where we can employ these people. This next video is going to show you the success, I would say, of that festival. We had honestly hoped for maybe 300 or 400 people to come to this festival. The Monday before, we had sold 50 tickets, I would say. I wouldn't say that. It's a fact. That is a fact. We had sold 50 tickets. I put out a video that Monday, and we sold 200 tickets in 2 days. Okay, we're going to hit our goal. We got at least 300 people coming. Thank heavens. Thank Billy Joel, he's not dead. He's not dead, is he? Sorry. Yeah. Thank Jimi Hendrix, we got people coming. And what you'll see in this video is we had 1,000 people come to the festival. Most of those will sold at the door. Most of the people, we will tell any tourist board 80% of those people came from out of town. We'll tell any local sponsor 80% of those people came from Pueblo. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Either way, we're trying to scale ambitions, grow the music industry. We had 1,000 people come out, and I'm going to show you the recap video, which I haven't even publicly posted, really. You've seen bits of this probably, but the success of what happened at that showcase. So that was year 1. Not bad, right? Not bad. And people say nothing happens in Pueblo. So sometimes stuff happens in Pueblo. And it was pretty cool, to be honest. The reality of that was maybe 5 of us organized that in a 4-month span. Nathan came to me in December, and we were going to put on the festival in April. So we threw all that together, again, just hopes and prayers. That was going to be a success, that people were going to show up is the biggest thing. I don't know why people don't pre-buy tickets in Pueblo, by the way. Huge anxiety. They do. Love them. That's why you're front row right now. Yeah, best seat in the house. Hope you enjoy the back there, so we had a huge success first year. Okay, well, we got momentum now, How do we create more infrastructure? How do we create sustainable growth for years to come? A lot of people would say, oh, let's straight away take every offer that comes our way. Let's grow this as huge as possible the first year. No, too many cooks in the kitchen, in our opinion. Like, we have to have sustainable growth that we can slowly grow. We have to bring in people strategically to help grow this. So the first year we did 4 stages, 30 bands, right? So good place to start. Okay, well now, next year, maybe we want to add more stages, add more bands. So newly adding this year, we're 2.5 weeks out from the second year of the festival, which is going to be April 11th and 12th. Well, who did we add this year? So we're actually bringing back, for those of you from Pueblo originally, Phil's Radiator is one of the mainstay heavy metal spots in town. Yeah, give it up for Phil's Radiator. Phil's Radiator. Used to be an automotive shop, sure, not anymore. People still go, I went today, people thought it was an automotive shop. It's not. Used to be an automotive shop. Then it became the main venue for heavy metal bands, hard rock bands in town. Closed down, unfortunately. Maybe for, somebody can correct me, for a couple decades it closed down. Recently, not a couple decades, say a decade.
6 years.
Okay, no one asked you, Q. Phil's Radiator closed down, unfortunately. Luckily, in the last 6 months, it was rebought by the owners of the Lunchbox, which you'll see pictured here on the bottom left. The Lunchbox was a food truck in town, but they always dreamed of having a venue downtown, of being able to support this great community. They used to party at Phil's Radiator. Yes, they did. We talked about it over beers. They used to party there all the time, and now they have rebought the place. People don't even know they're open. They got their food truck outside. They've redone the patio. They've redone the inside. Beautiful couple. She used to work at the college. He was a chef. He's been a chef for decades. They've reopened Presley's. That's one of our newest stages for the coming year. We're going to pay homage to the heavy metal, hard rock. We're making that the hard rock stage. Yeah, going to be super cool. We got a lot of more, a complaint we had in the first year, not enough heavy metal bands. Whatever, we'll get some more heavy metal bands, Thank you for your support, angry Facebook commenter. Thanks, Q. Tell everybody after. We have also brought back where did a lot of people go after Phil's Radiator? They went to The Favorite, which is right across from Union Depot. Super dive bar. First time I ever went to The Favorite, I walked in, somebody turned around and said, "Oh my God, there's white people here." I was like, yeah, this is my type of spot. This is Pueblo. This is nice. Hola is what I said to those people. They were bought by new owners. They've completely revamped the space. They painted over the walls. They added furniture. They've revamped it into a beautiful space. We are so thankful to now employ them as one of our venues for the music festival coming up. And one mistake we had maybe in the first year was there was no official after party. Noise ordinance in Pueblo is that music has to end at 11 p.m. for outdoor venues. Our main stages are outdoor, So 11 p.m. came around, everyone's hyped up. Everybody's pumped. This is awesome. What an amazing festival. Okay, it's over. Dang it, it's over. This year, we're having our official after party at The Favorite, which is right around the corner from our other stage, which is Neon Alley. Now, thank you, yes. Super pumped. Who's ever been to an event in Neon Alley? I've seen a couple, maybe. Well, let me tell you, it's a heavy permitting process. And are there any Concilias in the room? Yeah, they're great. They look like supervillains, I gotta say. Like, we walked in like Marvel characters, I felt like, superheroes. And but thankfully, they were all supportive of us trying to get a stage in Neon Alley. We've spent months trying to get the permitting, today, Nathan and Q were handing out letters to residents of Neon Alley, letting them know that we had finally been approved for a liquor license, because guess what? We became our own 501c3, which was a huge thing. Yeah, thank you. So again, finding different avenue sources to try to make this a sustainable thing, creating infrastructure, we're creating relationships with owners, we're creating relationships with musicians, with photographers, with all these people we need to make it a yearly event. We tripled our sponsorship money this year, which is amazing, huge deal. And we're only trying to build on that. Like my vision in the future, which I'll kind of put on here, we built an 11-person board. You know, of people, this is only like 7 of them, I think, but pictured in Neon Alley. We had to do that, you know, type of way. But built an 11-person board to try to make this a sustainable thing. What if I'm not around anymore? What if Nathan's not around anymore? What if Q is not around anymore? Well, we've got contracts, we got positions, we have infrastructure set up to make this last without us. It's not just about us. You know, that's a main thing, is like this can't be ego-based. This can't be, you know, siloed. This can't be just about building one thing that we want for ourselves, right? This has to be for the community itself. Like high tide raises all boats is something I say all the time to many of you in this room. So we built an 11-person board. We're a nonprofit. Our main partner is CSU Pueblo, who now, so when I went to CSU Pueblo, you can see my early videos, not great in retrospect. My only videographer teacher in college was 90% blind. He could only see lights, could only see shadows. Great guy, great professor, but the reality was the program didn't really exist for what I did. I had to create that in my career, again, while people I worked with had never seen anything like it before, because there wasn't curriculum to make this type of stuff happen, you know, type of deal. But now, CSU Pueblo, who is pushing forward into the common age, they have a festival events planning class. They are putting on, you know, live shows all over the type of place. So we we take labor from these kids, I would say. But we got about 15 kids that we split into different departments across the festival. So some are doing marketing. Many are building stages. Some are helping us with artist liaisons. They're helping in all different types of the festival. And the reality, like, we wouldn't be able to put on the festival without CSU Pueblo's partnership. No doubt about it. Like, they're huge for us. Sorry, Mom. I know you worked there for a long time. You don't work there anymore. They're awesome. Sorry. Yeah, they're great. They're great. We have great partnerships that we're building to try to make this a sustainable thing in the future. And that's really what what I'm trying to end with here. My final thoughts, I put on here, this is just me saying this, that resilience is the reality. I've been fired. I've been sued. I've been taken advantage of more times than I can count. I'm in more debt than I've ever been in my life, you know, to be honest right now. And I've never felt more optimistic about the future and about the things that we're trying to build. And I can only say that a quote that I resonate with a ton is that faster alone, further together. So I've got a lot of opportunities because of my own individual ambition. I've worked really hard to get where I am, to do the things that I've done, many of which you've seen in these videos. But the reality is that if I want to have sustainable fulfillment, it's with groups of people and organized events. So Steel City Music Showcase is my baby in town. I've lived in Denver for the last year. I drive down every week to Pueblo because this is my home. These are my people. You are my people, you know? And we're trying to make something that everyone can support, everyone can have fun with, and that we can create a grid, a blueprint for people to have their own events. Adam is here as well. Grassroots Gravel. Please give it up for them. Which, I mean, I can go around. Jeff at Blowback Gallery, if you guys haven't been there, amazing as well. Everyone's putting in huge effort in the artistic community, especially in the last 10 years in Pueblo, to create spaces for people to be employed, to have fun, to fulfill their dreams type of deal, and that's what we're trying to do, and what I feel like I've been trying to do my whole career. So thank you for coming to this. That is the end of my presentation, and yeah, that's it. Thank you. Thanks, y'all. Thank you.